important part of my life, pal. I'm glad I could be here.
This holiday is yours. No matter how different we appear, we're all the same in our struggle against the powers of evil and darkness.
What an incredible year it's been for Star Wars. Just think, it was only a few years ago that we doubted the direction that Kathleen Kennedy and her team at Lucasfilm was taking. It seemed like all was lost, but 2023 has proven that Star Wars is on the right track and heading in the right direction, because we've seen some magnificent content come out this year. And surprisingly, it's been done with Disney spending hardly any money at all. The lovely people at StarWars.com have just released their Star Wars Best of 2023, and it's a fascinating list. Any studio would be proud to have this sort of content after spending $4 billion to buy what was then the greatest IP that had ever existed. We wouldn't have dreamt we could reach this level of entertainment. Now, I will be concentrating more on the live action content, as that's what I'm into, but feel free to let me know how some of the cartoon shows worked out. I'd love to know. Now, one of the main things they're celebrating on their list, which I can get behind, is the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, an anniversary that was hardly promoted by Lucasfilm. So what did StarWars.com have to say about the Return of the Jedi 40-year anniversary? Well, just that Return of the Jedi is a good film and hadn't been in the theatres for 26 years. And somehow, the re-release still turned a bigger profit than Solo, a Star Wars story. But let's not look at the things that Disney had nothing to do with. Let's look at the list of the content that new Lucasfilm did bring out. And first off, we're going to celebrate The Mandalorian Season 3, where the show dived off a fucking cliff and turned off its biggest fans. But sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Let's see what StarWars.com had to say. The beloved found family of Din and Grogu returned this year, setting off a new quest to redeem the Mandalorian for the transgression of willingly removing his helmet. Yes, Helmet Head has returned with his little green frog friend, and that's the main problem. Season 2 completed the story of Mando and Grogu, and that's where their story should have ended. Maybe then we could have returned to what the show was originally going to be, a story about a bounty hunter collecting bounties. Or they could have gone off in the direction of Bo-Katan. Either way would have been better than bringing back Grogu to just have a nonsensical crap season where Mando turned out to be full of soy.
Yes. We know Pedro Pascal will be happy about Mando not taking his helmet off again, because he's over that crap and quite enjoys just recording the lines at home in the toilet. Seems like a dream gig. Katie Sackhoff, isn't that a fun name to say? Sackhoff. Katie Sackhoff won't be so lucky because they realise she's about the only draw card left, so she'll never be wearing her helmet.
But she shows her face.
Bo-Katan walks both worlds.
Like how the rules just change in Star Wars constantly, depending on how lazy the actor is. But besides covering all the amazing story points like life in the New Republic, a moment in Grogu's past, and the return of an old enemy, the biggest thing StarWars.com wants to celebrate is the dazzling guest stars they had this year. Lizzo and Jack Black, anyone? Christ, that's probably the low point since television was invented, and shows you all you need to know about what's important to Lucasfilm and what they think the fans want.
Solo thought Jaya.
But something I didn't know about Mandalorian Season 3 is that it told a can't-miss story for Star Wars fans. I must have missed that bit of the show. So our list of greatest moments of 2023 hasn't exactly started off on a high note, so let's see what they come up with next. Ahsoka! Ahsoka, arguably the worst series they have come up with. And that is a massive call after watching Obi-Wan. Ahsoka arrived, and she brought along some familiar friends in Sabine Wren, Harrison Dula, and Ezra Bridger. And more familiar friends to who? Just the people who watch the cartoon? That's a good way to narrow down your audience, just to push your own crap content. Well done, Dave Filoni. For those who have followed Ahsoka Tano, which is few, the former Padawan of Anakin Skywalker, originally introduced in 2008's animated series Star Wars The Clone Wars, seeing her lead a live-action series was reason to celebrate. Well, they should have held off on that celebration until they actually watched the show, because that show was garbage. Let's just think about some of the highlights. Was it the crossing of arms? Was it the girl power moments? Was it the incredible cast and their fine acting? Was it the stupid droids who forgot they could self-destruct and instead decided to start punching each other like people? Was it the Gladiator reject Was it the blinking droid? Was it the amazing lightsaber work? Was it the zombies? Was it that Thrawn turned out to be the dumbest villain of all time? Or was it that Sabine turned out to be one of the most evil people in the galaxy, who sacrificed millions if not billions of people so she could see an old friend? Was it that Balin and Shin, the only two characters that Disney have come up with since they abandoned making films, that seem at all interesting, who were completely wasted and stories led nowhere? They weren't even given one line of dialogue in the final episode. Was it them? Was it this guy, whose name I had to look up? Marok, who gives a shit? He was completely built up to be important in this story, and then literally vanished into dust. How come that bullshit was never explained? But quickly, it's Christmas. The season for a fresh cut is finally here with the sponsors of today's wonderful video, Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have just launched their 5th generation performance package to help you avoid another silent night in the bedroom this year, which no one wants. And you just never know, there may be a surprise chimney you need to come down. Take care of your special candy cane with the Lawnmower 5 Ultra and watch your South Pole shine like never before. Get this great stocking stuffer by going to manscaped.com and using the code ROBOTHEAD to get 20% off plus free shipping. Oh, Mrs. Claus is going to thank you. She loves a smooth sleigh ride. Manscaped is the one-stop shop for all your holiday gifts, starting with the Lawnmower 5 Ultra. This is the crown jewel of the holidays and I dare say the best ball trimmer of all time. And I would know.
Wow, you really got everywhere.
This electric razor's advanced skin-safe technology is a lifesaver, or should I say ball saver, as it's known for reducing nicks and cuts on thy Santa sack. Just the thought of that brings a tear to my eye.
We got a bleeder!
And there's something for everyone. The Weed Whacker 2 trimmer to get dad's unwanted nose and ear hairs under control. The magnificent Manscaped boxes too, featuring their signature jewel pouch to keep you calm, cool and collected. Your chestnuts are going to feel like they are being extra loved these holidays. Or there's the Sheer 3 nail grooming kit to help you move past that caveman look you're doing. Because there's no use having the downstairs under control, and no one's going to let you near them with those ugly hands. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code ROBOTHEAD at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the code ROBOTHEAD. Say ho 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 to a well-groomed mistletoe with Manscaped. What else does this fine celebration of Star Wars have to say? But it was Ahsoka's surprise reunion with Anakin Skywalker that will go down as an all-time great Star Wars moment. A shining example of Ahsoka's strength in its meditations on friendship and teaching. You know they're serious. Now, which version of Anakin are they talking about? Are they talking about Imaginary Ahsoka's head world between worlds Anakin? Are they talking about video highlights real Anakin? Or are they talking about Force Ghost Anakin? Because in this show, we got all three. We all like to laugh about key jangling, but my God, when you can't even decide which version of Anakin you want to bring back to the show, so you just say all of them because you've got the creative skills of an amputee's stump. Bloody choose one, you idiots. But the article goes on to say that bringing back Anakin and his story with Ahsoka, well, these are long-running Star Wars themes. And Ahsoka creator Dave Filoni, you idiot, explores them at great length here, not just as plot points, but inviting viewers to examine their role in our lives in exercising forgiveness and understanding for ourselves and others. And this last line gets me because somehow they drop in George Lucas, but doesn't make any sense. As Filoni himself was mentioned by George Lucas, one can read Ahsoka as a deeply personal statement, layered with thrilling lightsaber action and the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. I'm pretty sure George Lucas never mentioned those things in relation to the Ahsoka show, as he doesn't watch this garbage. Either way, Ahsoka delivered a payoff to Rebels fans, there's a lot of them, cleared a path for future stories. Yes, Ahsoka's abandoned on another planet, and they've sent Thrawn back to kill everyone, and had something to say. That's quite the hat trick. Hang on, what's the hat trick? The payoff for Rebels fans, that there could be future stories, and it had something to say. That's classed as a hat trick these days. God help us. This best of 2023 list has been quite amazing so far. What could be next? Star Wars returned to Star Wars Celebration in Europe, where their big announcement was the return of Rey. What we've all been waiting for. Ah, yes. No one's more excited about Rey's return than a certain group of YouTubers, myself included. This year, Daisy Ridley surprised us all, announcing she'll be back as Rey in one of 3 new films currently in development. Remember, this is the highlights of 2023. The dragging out of Daisy Ridley and the announcement of 3 films that are never going to happen. What a fine highlight that is. Poor Daisy Ridley. Career's not really on fire. She must be wishing for these films more than anyone. But come on, this is meant to be the best of 2023. Not just a sad list of everything Lucasfilm did this year. The article also celebrates The Bad Batch Season 2, which I'm not watching, Jedi Survivor, which most people seem to enjoy if it doesn't keep crashing, I know the story in the first game was more interesting than anything Lucasfilm has produced for Disney+. They seem pretty excited about Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, which you couldn't get me to watch even if you set my testicles on fire. Visions Volume 2, which seems to be very hit and miss. StarWars.com has also put in one of its highlights of the year, that being the release of a toy. I'm guessing this list was hard to pad out. They failed to mention the dying toy sales across 2023, or that Hasbro didn't want to create Ahsoka toys due to lack of demand.
Cincinnati-based Kenner Corporation sales are up 40%, and Kenner officials say the movie Star Wars is responsible.
Star Wars toys flew off the shelves for decades. Now they have to add a single toy to the best of 2023 list in the hope of a couple of sales. Apparently another highlight of the year was the Star Wars Dark Droids comics, which introduced the amazing ability of Darth Vader being able to grow his limbs back. I kid you not. But come on, I'm here for the live action. We've had Mando, we've had Ahsoka. This was once the greatest IP of all time, which created some of the biggest movies of all time. Surely there's a Star Wars movie highlight this year. They didn't spend $4 billion just to make some crappy TV shows and some lame cartoons. What is the final highlight on their 2023 celebration list? Harrison Ford reclaimed his hat as Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny arrived. Fuck me. What do they have to say about this amazing film? And how the hell are they going to link it to Star Wars? In recent years, Star Wars fans have enjoyed a plentiful array of new stories, but one only needs to go back a couple of decades to recall a time when we had to wait years for new tales from the galaxy far, far away. Yes, they were better times when we had quality over quantity.
I am your father.
It was better when it was worth the wait instead of having crap shoved down our throats every 5 minutes. That's something Indiana Jones fans know all too well. And after 15 years passed since our last big screen adventure with Harry Jones Jr., we at last were treated, they say, to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Harrison Ford's last performance as cinema's greatest archaeologist was well worth the wait. Not so sure about that. And indie fans around the world relished the opportunity to celebrate the occasion. The film's release was a significant milestone, not only for the cast, crew and audience, but for Lucasfilm itself. The indie stories originated in our earliest history as a company, right alongside the development of Star Wars. Over the decades, these two sagas have shared distinct similarities that make up the core elements of the Lucasfilm spirit. How right they are about Indiana Jones and Star Wars still sharing a strong link. Both were once two of the most iconic film series of all time, and both have been destroyed by Kathleen Kennedy and her soy-filled staff at Lucasfilm. Sadly today, both franchises are about as much fun to watch as getting a prostate exam.
You using the whole fist, Doc?
Just relax.
Twice Lucasfilm have brought back Harrison Ford to reprise two of his biggest characters. Two of the most iconic characters in the history of cinema, and both times they reduced him to a failed husband, deadbeat dad who let his son down.
I want to be free of this pain.
So that's the Star Wars 2023 Best Of list. A show that completely died and shed viewers like they were genital lice. Another show that was dead on arrival and had the lowest viewers of any Disney Plus Star Wars content. A convention where they brought out Daisy Ridley from the storage closet to announce movies that'll never get made. An Indiana Jones movie, which was bloody horrible. And a 40-year-old George Lucas production that modern Lucasfilm had nothing to do with. What a list. What a year it's been. I can't wait for 2024 to see what Disney, Lucasfilm and Star Wars has in store for us. No film slated for 2024. Andor Season 2 pushed back to 2025. There's got to be some Star Wars to look forward to. Skeleton Crew and The Acolyte. God help us.
What can you tell us about the story of Skeleton Crew?
It's a story about a group of kids. I think we can all relate to that as Star Wars fans, kind of when we first get the sense of wonder. And these kids in the Star Wars galaxy have that same big sense of wonder and want to go on a great adventure. But it might be more than they can handle. So out in the wide galaxy, it's more dangerous than you think.
So, what can you tell us about the story